2 as well. No, I definitely can't watch that on stream, Papa. No chance. A world recorder, yeah. Fuck yeah. Let's switch it up. Let's check out Defunctland. Defunctland was so fucking good last time. Alright, what else we got? The history of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. I want shit that's in the dirt right now. That ride still exists. Oh, the Nickelodeon Hotel's one I wanted to watch.
In 1999, the children's network Nickelodeon was changed forever with the premiere of a new cartoon series named SpongeBob SquarePants. Nickelodeon had developed many popular
No chance,
TV shows in its
Naruto.
20-year
Next to
existence,
resub,
but it
Ed.
had never had a hit like SpongeBob. The show debuted to high ratings, with an audience comparable to Nickelodeon's biggest series at the time, Rugrats. But SpongeBob found massive success in an area that other Nickelodeon shows hadn't: merchandising. The company
Yeah.
had purposefully shied away from extending the brand too far from the network itself. While Nickelodeon had turned some of its properties into toys, feature films, and video games,
YouTuber Eddie,
they feared that
good
too
guy.
much merchandising would contradict the brand's goal of appealing to young audiences. Nickelodeon was supposed to appear as a network run by kids, for kids, and the executives believed that children could tell when they were being advertised to, thus interfering with the channel's primary
Bullshit.
objective. On top of this, a general distaste for the Walt Disney Company
Kids
and its
can't
practices
tell
had solidified
shit.
Nickelodeon's
They're
motivation
dumb.
to limit size and avoid feeling corporate. All of this was thrown out the window after SpongeBob premiered. The potential profit from merchandising the show's characters and setting was too large to ignore, and the title character would turn into Nickelodeon's unofficial mascot, its own Mickey Mouse, within just a few years. It appeared as though Nickelodeon was cashing in, but they were still concerned with expanding outside of their comfort zone and tarnishing their brand, in lieu of building its own stores like Disney, a type of project that
Actually
was
is
too
pretty
risky.
incredible how huge
Nickelodeon instead
SpongeBob
licensed its
is.
properties to anyone that wanted them. If you could slap a SpongeBob sticker on it, then Nickelodeon would sign a document that legally allowed you to slap a SpongeBob sticker on it. And since they were already beginning to look like their main competitor, why not act like them too? And what's more Disney than rushing into a huge, difficult project
Thanks to
fueled
5
by
subs
temporary
trailer.
success? Welcome
Thank
to
you,
the
trailer.
Nick Hotel.
Thanks to the
Going up.
resub Jade and Dan. The bits meme. Was there anyone that didn't like SpongeBob? I've actually never even heard of anyone that didn't like the show growing up. There was always like a contrarian that said they didn't like it, but did anyone actually dislike the fucking show? Like, I can't imagine it. It really was like the
October
perfect
9th,
kids show,
2003,
and now there's a lot of liars
Nickelodeon
in here.
announced that they had formed a partnership with the hotel chain Holiday Inn for the purpose of transforming its Orlando resort, the Holiday Inn Family Suites Resort, into the first ever Nickelodeon hotel. The property was less than 5 years old, having just opened in the summer of 1999. The resort was Holiday Inn's first all-suite hotel, featuring 800 suites, 2 pools, water playgrounds, a restaurant, and a food court. The hotel was located just east of the Walt Disney World Resort.
No
and
worries,
transportation
Michael.
was provided to all 4 Disney parks. Nickelodeon had originally considered constructing a new resort themselves, but decided against this due to their constant fear of failure. Orlando was of course the perfect
Thanks to
location
Resub
for the
Turok.
resort's pilot test. It had a huge tourist population of families and young children, and the company had 2 attractions at Universal Studios Florida.
Yeah,
Nickelodeon
it's
Studios
slime
and
time.
the newly opened Jimmy Neutron's Nicktoon Blast. The Holiday Inn was located closer to Walt Disney World than it was to Universal Studios, but Nickelodeon would take what they could get. During the announcement, Nickelodeon revealed that they had plans to build 4 more resorts throughout the country.
Not wrong,
The
Eddie.
transformation of the Holiday Inn
And yeah, I
Family
know
Suites Resort was
Lavender.
to be completed in early 2005, and the renovation would cost an estimated $20 million. Nickelodeon began advertising the resort leading up to its release, and parents began to book their stays at the new hotel.
Did you hear? Nickelodeon has built a hotel just for you. Opening this
I
month,
vaguely remember this kind of shit.
Nickelodeon Family Suites by Holiday Inn in Orlando, Florida. You get your own bedroom.
Since I lived in Orlando at the time, I vaguely remember these.
Slides and flumes, a giant arcade, character breakfast, and live Nick entertainment. Parents can book reservations.
Thanks for 5 gift subs, bunch of eggs. Appreciate it. Fuck yeah.
Or or call
And I'm sorry to hear that, Goldfish.
866-GO-TO-NICK.
On March 9th, 2005, the Nickelodeon Family Suites Holiday Inn,
Hey, you have a
commonly
big 10
referred to
gift
as
subs,
the Nick
Wheeler,
Hotel,
goddamn.
opened its doors.
Thank
Guests
you.
would walk up to the bright orange resort, with characters peeking through the window of the main entrance. This led to the lobby and check-in desk. There were 4 room layouts the guests could choose from. The first was a 1-bedroom suite designed for 1 to 2
Ooh,
people.
that looks
This included a
comfy.
king-sized bed, full kitchen, and a dishwasher. The second was a 2-bedroom kid suite. This included a private parent's room, a living area,
95 gift
a
subs symmetry,
bathroom,
goddamn.
and a
Going
themed
wild,
kids
thank
room.
you.
The kids' room would either feature a bunk bed or 2 twin beds, and the rooms were themed to different Nickelodeon properties, such as SpongeBob, The Fairly OddParents, Jimmy Neutron, Dora the Explorer, Rugrats, Danny Phantom, and more. Guests could request a
That looks
specific
pretty
character
fucking
room that
cool.
would be assigned to it if available. The kids' rooms also featured a television, and some came with a PlayStation 2. Guests
What?
could rent games from the hotel
That's
for
nuts.
$5 or bring their own. There was also a CD player and an activity table
What?
in most of the suites.
An
Unlike the
activity
parents' room,
table?
there was no door separating the kids' room from the living area. This was due to a county law restricting doors on kid suites for safety reasons. The parents' room was unthemed and featured 2 side tables, a closet,
Well, this
a
place looks
25-inch
kinda fucking
TV,
awesome.
and a makeup desk.
I would've loved
the main
this
living
place.
area featured a pull-out couch, a rocking
Thanks for
chair,
the 5 gift subs,
a
Kane.
dining
Good to see you,
table,
Kane.
and
And
a
thank you for the tier 2
25-inch
gift sub,
TV.
Eddie.
The third suite layout was a 3-bedroom kid suite. This came with 2 private parent rooms, both with king-sized beds, a themed kids' room with a bunk bed and pull-out cot, a full kitchen, a full dining room, and 2 bathrooms. The fourth and final layout was Nick Hotel's honeymoon suite, called the Nick at Night Suite.
Whoa, shit.
This included a heart-shaped whirlpool, mood lighting,
Well,
scented
1990s
bath lotion,
busted
an
nuts.
extra-large shower,
While SpongeBob and Patrick watch.
and only 1 private bedroom.
Leave those kids at home.
For some reason, these rooms didn't last very long, and it seems that they were discontinued within a few years of the hotel's opening.
Oh.
All suites had the option of a wake-up call from a Nickelodeon character, and simple room service was available. The suites opened from the outside, resulting in the kids' suites having no windows. 14 6-story buildings housed the suites. The main structure comprised of 9 buildings, enclosing the lagoon pool, and the other 5 buildings enclosed the Oasis pool. The main area also
Yeah,
featured
maybe
the lobby,
Foster.
the fitness center,
Thanks to
and
tier
Studio
1,
B,
Ash.
which was a space for special events such as conferences, birthday parties, and starting in 2009 for inexplicable reasons, weddings. The lagoon pool featured a basketball court.
What do you mean,
mini
inexplicable
golf, a pool
reasons?
and a kiddie area. The
People
lagoon bar
fucking
and
love
grill
that
poolside
shit. People get
restaurant,
married at
and a
Disney all
large
the
water
time.
park. The main attraction for children staying at the resort. The water park featured large cutouts of Nickelodeon characters, multiple water slides, water features, and a large water bucket at the top of the structure. This would periodically fill up, tip over, and douse guests with water. And at certain times of the day, the water would be colored green to simulate slime. This was treated as
Whoa!
a special event, with hotel employees gathering everyone and getting them excited for the mass sliming. The Oasis pool area featured another poolside bar, a kiddie area, a spa, and a less elaborate water park. This was supposed to be the more
Thanks for some
relaxing
fueled
area than the
and
often
chicken.
crowded lagoon pool. In between the 2 hotel structures would be a building referred to as the mall.
That's
the mall
rough,
featured an
Pinchy.
arcade, a kids spa, and a gift shop, which sold both Nickelodeon and Universal Studios merchandise. There was a 4D theater, which had a 3D screen, moving seats, bubbles, and water effects. This would show a SpongeBob 4D film, as well as 15-minute highlight reels from recent movies, such as the Ice Age franchise, and later, Pacific Rim. There
And
was also a
John
theater near
Wick.
Studio Nick for game shows and live character shows. When the hotel opened, Studio Nick had 2 game shows, Who Knows Best and Nick Live. Who Knows Best was a game show that tested how well families knew each other, while Nick Live was a show in which families would compete against other families in physical challenges.
Wow, that looks like a fun game. What
A
the
smaller scale
fuck?
version of the show called Families Would Compete
Who
Against
made this one? Dan Schneider? Wow. That's my kind of
other
game.
families in physical
Milk the
challenges
fucking
and
cows,
trivia,
just
with the
yank on
winner
their
getting
titties there, I
slimed.
guess.
A smaller scale version of the show called Nick Live Poolside would be performed by the Lagoon Pool, with a small dunk tank dedicated to the show. The Nick Hotel also had a
Thanks
wide
for
array
resub
of dining options.
Wings
The mall had its
and
own
the
food
bits,
court,
D-Dog
with
and
restaurants
Comrade.
rotating in and out from time to time. Restaurants included
Yeah, we've done
A&W,
most of those,
Pizza
Comrade.
Hut Express, Antonio's Pizzeria, and Starbucks. There was a buffet open for breakfast and lunch, an adult bar named the Nick at Night Lounge, and the hotel's signature restaurant, the Nicktoons Cafe. This reservation-only
gift subs,
character
Cold
dining
Smoke.
restaurant
Thank you,
served a
Cold.
breakfast and dinner buffet. The main appeal of the Nicktoons Cafe was, of course, the character meet and greets.
Thanks
And
for Prime Robin
now,
Williams
a
and
brief
resub Zap.
tangent on Nickelodeon character costumes.
The Nick Hotel allowed guests to meet many of their favorite Nickelodeon characters. There were meet and greets set up throughout the hotel, Studio Nick character shows such as SpongeBob Live.
This place
and
looks like
dance parties in the food
paradise!
area. The art of turning a two-dimensional cartoon into a three-dimensional walk-around costume is underappreciated. If done correctly, it can bring a beloved character to life. If done incorrectly, it is creepy.
That's not
Today,
creepy, what the
Disney's
fuck do you
walk-around
mean?
Characters rarely come off as unsettling. This is because of the talented actors that portray them, the brilliant artists that design them,
He's a
and
tier 1
years
Puff Puff
and
and
years
resub
of trial and
Salamaster
error.
in Prime Tech Life.
Nickelodeon did not have the benefit of the latter. All of the Nick Hotel character costumes seem to be designed in such a way that the characters appear as though they are always smiling for a picture. However, this only works if they are staring directly at the camera, which they almost never are. On the other hand, Disney's costumes are designed to be multi-purposed. For instance, when Mickey is smiling for a picture, he will tilt his head up slightly. By design, he appears to be smiling more from this angle. When he tilts his head back down,
I would
he is
never
still
pick up on
smiling,
that shit.
But it is more neutral, as opposed to relentless and terrifying. Also, most Disney costumes are designed for some amount of neck movement. This gives the characters more life, as they don't appear as walking sculptures. Many of Nickelodeon's costumes featured heads that were too large to move. This resulted in a surplus of premium-grade nightmare fuel. Made worse if the children actually did have a nightmare, they would turn on their bed light to reveal the character staring at them while they sleep.
But
In
that's so
short,
cool.
Every character at the Nick
Oh, man,
Hotel
oh,
looked
man,
like they
come
were
on.
drugs after the Nick sleep.
This makes me want to paint Jimmy Neutron on my wall right now. Imagine busting in a wet dream and you wake up and Jimmy's just giving you a nice little wave with Goddard next to it. I mean, like, that's so cool. What a cool room to stay in.
Staring at them while they sleep. In short, every character at the Nick Hotel looked like they were on drugs at all times. Characters appearing at the resort included
Let me just
SpongeBob,
slap that table
Squidward,
thing.
Sandy, Patrick, Mr. Krabs, Dora, Boots, Diego, Blue, Danny Phantom, Aang, Cosmo, Wanda, Jimmy Neutron,
There's a tier 1
Angelica,
fork in Prime
the
Colton.
Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Millie and Geo of Team Umizoomi,
What?
Ming Ming Duck Ling,
What?
Fanboy and Chum Chum.
What are all of
Chase
these
and
things?
Marshall, the Paw Patrol dogs. Pablo.
When the fuck did this place close? I've never heard of any of these. When does it close? January 29th, 2016. Holy shit. I thought this shit closed a long time ago. I thought this was old. I thought the Nickelodeon Hotel only lasted a few years. I am shocked. Wow. Okay.
The Bubble Guppies, and Little Bill. The costume designs
Seems to
improved
give some
over
fork
time,
and
but they were still
Diablo
not
and
optimal
Ash.
for character shows.
But Squidward, today is the day that we honor the greatest sandwich in the seven seas, the Krabby Patty.
Woo!
Behind the mall, there was a man-made lake. While it was not accessible to guests, various statues of Nickelodeon characters were placed on it. The hotel also had Christmas festivities named the Let It Snow Celebration. The resort was decorated in bright Christmas lights, and it offered hot chocolate and s'mores around fire pits.
They're opening
Many
a
of the
new
walk-around
one?
Characters were dressed in seasonal costumes.
I'm going.
And there was a special Studio Nick character show called Celebrate Nickmas. So, how much did it cost? The renovation to create the resort ended up costing around $25 million.
It wasn't bad,
and a total
Num Num.
of 777 suites were available to book. Prices fluctuated throughout the year.
Thanks,
a
James.
two-bedroom kid suite cost between $135 and $275 a night.
Thanks to
while
Tier
a
1 Fat
three-bedroom kid
Ice.
suite cost between $300 and $600 a night. The buffet was around $10 for adults, $8 for kids, and free for anyone under 12. The Nicktoons Cafe character dining cost $17.
Oh, he's
for adults,
Gangnam styling. What the fuck is that? Gee, he's
All-access
busting it.
wristband and
Holy
leg
shit.
warmers would allow guests access to the 4D experience and other activities in the mall area. This cost around $20. So if you did the math, A family of 4 spending 2 nights and a full day at the hotel would cost over $750 during peak
Whoa.
season. While this was expensive,
Holy
the Nick
shit.
Hotel operated as a resort, with enough activities and attractions to keep guests on property during their stay. This was different than Disney, as more often than not, Walt Disney World Resort hotel guests will be purchasing tickets to one or more of the property's theme parks. On April 30th, 2005, just over a month after the Nick Hotel opened its doors, Nickelodeon Studios at Universal Studios Florida closed.
No.
The time capsule had been buried outside of the studio in 1992. Kids voted on what they wanted to be placed in the capsule, and items such as a Back to the Future VHS, an MC Hammer CD, and a Nintendo Game Boy were buried. The capsule was to remain for 50 years, to be opened in 2042. After Nickelodeon Studios closed, the time capsule was moved to the Nick Hotel where it was reburied and displayed for guests. The Nickelodeon Hotel continued to operate normally for over a decade. adding new entertainment options and shows periodically. In May of 2012, Double Dare Live, a new game show at Studio Nick based
Easy
off
tier
of the
one
hit TV
games
show,
are.
debuted. In 2014, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Summer of the Shell began. Some rooms were rethemed to the heroes, and a laser maze based off of the TV show was added to the mall.
That
In
looks fucking
2015,
cool, and the
Nick
laser
Hotel
like
celebrated
slightly
its 10th
burns you when you
anniversary,
fuck up.
But just a month after the celebration ended, the Nick Hotel would receive some devastating news. On January 29, 2016, Nickelodeon announced that the Nickelodeon Family Suites would be rebranded back into a Holiday Inn.
No.
The news, while sad for many, was not necessarily shocking. There were a few signs that the Nick Hotel might not be around for much longer. For one, Nickelodeon had a severely reduced presence at Universal Studios Florida, since Nickelodeon Studios had closed in 2005 and Jimmy Neutron's Nicktoon Blast had closed in 2011. While walk-around
Damn, that
characters
had a
still
good
appeared
run.
at the park, there was no attraction dedicated to Nickelodeon. This made marketing the resort and the park together slightly more difficult, and more than anything, it was an indication that an era of Nickelodeon was over. By 2016, the original branding was dated, as all of the shows, except SpongeBob and the Fairly Odd Parents, had ended. Another issue was that the concept for the resort was flawed from the beginning. The Nick Hotel operated like an all-inclusive resort, similar to those found in tropical destinations. The problem was that the Nick Hotel was in the middle of Orlando. This made guests feel claustrophobic, as the resort was not sitting next to an ocean. They also wanted to go experience Orlando's many attractions,
What?
but for the price of the Nick Hotel,
I'm not near
guests
the
needed to stay
ocean.
on
This
property
place
to get
sucks.
their money's worth. However, these were all minor issues. The biggest reason for the debranding was Nickelodeon's new partnership with Charisma Hotels.
Thanks for some
This was
Quinzel
created to
and
build
canned milk.
Nickelodeon resorts throughout the world. The
And
company
yet a
had
minute,
never
num
gone
num.
through with the plans for expansion with Holiday Inn, most likely due to the Nick Hotel not being a massive success. The resort was popular, but it was clear that the Holiday Inn concept wouldn't work outside of Orlando. The first Nickelodeon resort with Charisma Hotels would open in Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic later in 2016. The new resort would have many attractions similar to the Nick Hotel, but it had a more elegant and subtle design and was located on a beach. The Punta Cana resort was met with glowing reviews,
Holy
and
shit.
another resort is set to open in Riviera Maya, Mexico in 2019.
What?
Since Nickelodeon was focusing on a more luxurious resort brand, they decided to end their licensing contract with Holiday Inn. There was also one more reason for the closure. The
What?
hotel
That
was
looks
not
fucking
in great
awesome.
shape.
The Nickelodeon Hotel, 10 years later. These images may be disturbing.
Thanks to the resub pin, emu, and type fun. Is that blood? It's not too bad. This is very nitpicky. As if you don't ever stay in a hotel room with diapers and piss stains. Like, I mean, it's not that surprising.
By 2016, the Nick Hotel desperately needed a renovation. This meant either updating all of the Nickelodeon characters and properties, or removing them completely. The timing just happened to be perfect to end the contract. The resort was to receive a $30 million renovation along with the debranding. It was set to reopen on April 17, 2016. However, construction delays pushed the project
son of
back
a
nearly
bitch.
2 months. Having been announced in January that it was to close, this put the Nick Hotel in a state of limbo for 5 months, and the hotel stayed open for most of the transformation. During this time, certain activities were discontinued,
700 a night for
buildings
that?
were being repainted,
Hey,
and logos were being removed.
that's
The time
SpongeBob's
capsule was
pee-pee.
once again dug up and moved to the Nickelodeon Studios in Burbank. Less people were staying at the hotel during this time, and the resort felt abandoned. Many of the themed kid suites remained, despite the rest of the hotel being given a blue paint job and replacing all Nickelodeon logos with Holiday Inn. Many of the TVs and appliances had not been replaced since the hotel opened.
Oh.
The whole area was almost completely silent,
Cool.
with many of the attractions and restaurants being renovated or removed. Finally, on June 1st, 2016,
Thanks to
the
resub
resort
South
reopened as the
and
Holiday Inn
Travis.
Orlando Suites. The hotel still hosts family game
True
shows,
cult.
the food court reopened with some new restaurants, the water bucket is now dyed dark blue at certain times, the 4D theater now shows some generic movie, the laser maze is now themed to Batman, and the gift shop
nice.
now sells both Nickelodeon and Disney merchandise. The prices have also dropped significantly, now typically below $100 a night for a room with a kid's suite.
That's
The
a
new hotel
great
was an
deal.
interesting experiment to say the least, because it didn't not work. Attendance was consistent, it wasn't completely neglected by either company, and it avoided what would have probably been a disastrous expansion. At the
Nice,
same
fishy.
time, it wasn't perfect.
A fond
The
memory
design was
then.
cheesy, the activities were immature, and there was little to nothing for parents.
Activities
Plus,
immature, it's for
Holiday
kids,
Inn,
pay
known more for having economical prices rather than
Kids can pay
luxurious
$700 a
facilities,
night.
was probably not the best choice for the partnership. Nickelodeon made the right decision in partnering with Charisma Hotels, and it is possible that many new Nickelodeon resorts will open in the future. While these new resorts best the Nickelodeon family suites in almost every category, it is still disappointing to see such an elaborate entertainment experience disappear. Seeing the debranded hotel, a skeleton of what it once was, is devastating to those that stayed there and the many more that wanted to. While it might be gone, the Nick Hotel leaves behind a decade of memories of Nickelodeon fans having the best day ever.
It does look like the best day ever. Fucking slimed. Man, I wish I had stayed there. That seems like a place I would have fucking hated. I don't. So what? You just stay there, eat, and then play in a laser maze once, and then watch a 10-minute SpongeBob movie? It seems fucking terrible. Like, I guess what you'd do is you'd have like a big fun day in Orlando, if that's even possible, and then go back to the Nickelodeon Hotel and the party doesn't stop. Thanks to the resub, Jello. Search up work of fart. No, I'm gonna do a little more Defunctland. I need to finish, not finish. I need to fill up my water real quick though, so give me just 2 seconds. Be right back. Alright, I'm back, team. Alright, what next? Hey, Epcot, that's not defunct though. Thanks to the resub Rex and the Prime Futured. Yeah, those are usually pretty good, Fluster. Nara Dreamland. Okay. Thanks to the resub Ob. We already did Action Park. Hey, Laser. Oh man, is that it? You were really into fucking planes and war and shit, huh? Didn't we do that though? I recognize that title. This is pretty good. Thanks, Prime Dr. Max.
おい、こちら立石だ、どうぞ。黒田の女が現れました。尾行します、どうぞ。よし、すぐ。
I don't know what this is. It's Defunctland, but this is very different.
In 1955, Disneyland Park in Anaheim, California opened its gates. The park was a near instant success and changed themed entertainment forever. Walt Disney had been told that his concepts for an elaborately themed entertainment park were unprofitable and that he was out of his element. Of course, Disneyland would be the biggest thing to ever happen to the theme park industry, and Disney
To the
theme parks
fucking
are now the
world,
most
more
popular
like.
theme parks in the world. Not long after the opening of Disneyland, Kunizo Matsuo, the president of the Japanese Matsuo Entertainment Company, flew to California to see the park for himself. He was more than impressed, and strongly believed a park like Disneyland would work perfectly in Japan. Matsuo became a mediator for the Japanese Dream Sightseeing Company, and got in direct contact with Walt Disney himself. Though Tokyo might have seemed the best location for a Disney park, Matsuo had a background as a kabuki actor, and was deeply invested in the history and culture of Japan, hence the proposed location of the country's former capital, Nara. Walt took to the idea of an international park, and agreed on building it in the city of Nara. Construction began on Nara Disneyland with the guidance of Walt and his creative team. The park was heavily influenced by Disneyland in Anaheim. It was designed in the same spoken wheel pattern and featured a replica of Sleeping Beauty Castle. Also in the hub was a great fountain and a small stage used for character shows and events. Nara Disneyland would feature a Main Street, a Fantasyland, a Tomorrowland, an Adventureland, and a unique Ancestorland in place of Frontierland. Park admission was to be free, and guests could experience attractions by purchasing tickets at ticket booths scattered throughout.
There should be a Halo-themed
Near the
park.
end of construction, Matsuo and Disney began to argue over licensing fees. An agreement needed to be reached for Matsuo to feature Disney properties in the park. The two were unable to compromise, and Disney pulled his support, meaning that Nara Disneyland had to be scrapped. However, the park was already near completion. Because of this, Matsuo quickly rebranded the park to Nara Dreamland, and new mascots were created in the form of Ran-chan and Dory-chan, two children dressed as British Royal Guards. While the end result was incredibly similar to Disneyland, there were still very few parks of its type in the world, and its design was especially unique to Japan, whose leisure industry was just beginning to recover after the devastation the country faced in and after World War II. The Happiest Place in Japan opened on July 1st, 1961, and while those familiar with Anaheim's park might have seen a shoddy knockoff, the visitors saw a world of fantasy.
奈良は今歴史的な文化財とは別に新しい観光資源を開発し規模の大きい観
I
光
can't really tell what I'm looking at. The quality is not good.
子供たちを対象にしたデラックス遊園地アメリカのディズニーランドをモデルにしたと言われるだけに万事が大規模で日本
Thanks
離
to
れして
resub,
い
baby.
ます
Or bebe.
それだけにアメリカインディアンと古都奈良の佇まいは対照的でありすぎることも事実のようです
At the park entrance, guests were greeted by Nara Dreamland's train station, which served as the sole stop for the Nara Dreamland Railroad. This narrow-gauge railroad took guests on a grand circle tour of the park, and journeyed through a tunnel that showcased a Wild West diorama. Upon entering the park, guests could then choose one of the 4 tunnels to take
This
them to Main
seems
Street.
pretty
This
boring
area included
looking.
vehicles such as an omnibus,
I don't even
a
see
fire engine, and
SpongeBob.
horse-drawn carriages. The street included a town hall, a fire station, an opera house, a
They just
church,
created
and a
another
shops and
town.
areas. The focal point was the castle, which also functioned as the primary entrance to Fantasyland. Fantasyland included a classic carousel, a teacup ride, multiple boat attractions on a small
Thanks for
lake,
5
a
gift subs
haunted
again,
maze, and a
Liam. Thank you,
skyway.
man.
Upon first glance, it might seem as though that both the lake boats and the haunted maze were not Disney knockoffs. But this is only half true. When Disneyland first
that's nice,
opened,
Peter.
it featured both the Phantom boats and the motorboat cruise, attractions similar to and probably the inspiration for Nara's boats.
Thanks to resub
One of the
Kirkland.
boating attractions was Turtle Boat, a ride which took guests on small turtle-shaped boats that led them into Ryugu Palace to meet Princess Otohime and a group of mermaids. This was one of the many Nara Dreamland attractions to have its roots in
Otohime,
Japanese
isn't it?
history and folklore. Its design also drew inspiration from Disneyland's Storybook Land canal boats. The Haunted Maze predated Disneyland's Haunted Mansion by 8 years, although the classic Disney ride had been in development before Dreamland opened. The Haunted Maze's facade was shaped like a witch, a grotesque image, especially for the fantasy section of the park. The opening year brochure describes the attraction with the line, "Satan and many goblins await you." Guests were given a card upon entry to the maze and were challenged to find 3 checkpoints within the building to get the card stamped.
Thanks,
The
resub
maze was very
Seeker.
dark and had scattered theming, primarily skeletons behind metal bars. Fantasyland also featured an attraction called the Miracle House, a ride in which guests would enter a show building, board a small pirate ship, and fly over various scenes from around the world. This was clearly supposed to be Nara Disneyland's Peter Pan attraction before the licensing rights fell through. The Miracle House attraction would open with guests flying over the United States, Egypt, and the South Seas Islands. Fantasyland also had a variety of attractions added after the park's opening. These included a handful
This
of
just doesn't
free
seem like a
attractions
fun
and carnival
park.
rides such as Flashdance, Pirate Swings, and Pirate Octopus. An update of the opening day teacup ride featured extra theming, more elaborate paint on the cups, and a canopy that covered the ride area. Fantasyland also saw the addition of 3 coasters over the years. In 1979, the famous Screw Coaster opened to the delight of park guests. This was the popular corkscrew model designed by Aerodynamics, with similar iterations found at parks such as Busch Gardens Tampa and Alton Towers. The Kids Coaster and Fantasy Coaster, both mild or family rides, would later open on the northwest side of Fantasyland.
So is this place still
Tomorrowland
open?
opened with a familiar popular attraction, Bobsleigh, a tubular steel coaster modeled after Disneyland's Matterhorn bobsleds. The mountain didn't
Is
just
Brian
house the
boosted?
coaster,
No.
it also served as a midway point for Nara Dreamland's Skyway attraction that ran from Fantasyland to Tomorrowland,
Yeah, of
similar
course,
to
I've watched that
Disneyland's
meet.
setup at the time.
Or
In addition
Dane.
to Freeway, an Autopia-inspired attraction, Tomorrowland also had smaller family-friendly rides such as Astrojets, Loop-the-Loop, and a truly remarkable hovercrafts attraction, where guests could steer hovercrafts around a small lake near the bobsleigh.
Oh,
The
looks
land also
cool.
opened with an attraction familiar to Disneyland fans, the Flying Saucers. This attraction sat guests in round seats on
He's a
top
tier
of
1
an oversized
detective
air
and
hockey
gives sub
table.
Kinder and
Guests could
graduating.
lean side to side to maneuver their seats over the air holes, with the goal being to bump the other guests. Some attractions added
Makes it
later
tier
on
1
didn't quite
Zero.
fit the theming, such as Aero
Resub
Development's
Selden.
antique car ride attraction. Though Aero made many iterations of this classic ride, Nara stood out, as the ride vehicles were actually a combination of 2 different car models, the top portion of the Ford Touring car and the bottom portion of the Aero Cadillac, which may have been done to cut costs. The antique car ride sat on the filled plot of the Submarine Voyage, a ride in which guests boarded a partially submerged submarine in a lagoon and journeyed into a show.
That sounds
Tomorrowland
fucking
also housed
miserable.
an unthemed classic log flume ride. which
There
ran
is
close to
no
the
place
monorail
more
track.
awful
In
than being in a
1998,
submarine.
Oscar, a wooden coaster manufactured by Intamin and inspired by the classic Coney Island Cyclone coaster, opened on the border of Tomorrowland and Main Street. For a park that was starting to slump financially, Oscar was a great addition
Thanks
to
for
the park.
5 gift subs,
Riders
Fire
were
Bats.
surprised
Thank
at
you.
just how good the
Appreciate it, Fire
coaster
Bats.
was, some claiming Nara Dreamland didn't deserve it. Adventureland sported a familiar wooden archway over its entrance, and seemingly only ever housed one attraction, Jungle Cruise. This followed the same idea and plot as the Jungle Cruise at Disneyland. Guests embark on a cruise through the jungle to admire the local flora and fauna, only to end in a confrontation with a native tribe. Guests encountered a variety of animals, the skipper used a gun to scare away predators, and guests could delight in the backside of water. Ancestorland was Nara Dreamland's version of Frontierland, and it celebrated the history and culture of Japan. The land
Aw.
consisted of replicas of historical Japanese structures and was bordered by a river. Guests could take a variety of boat types along the river
Yeah,
to
exactly,
navigate the land,
Fluster.
as well as view miniature replicas of Japanese sites. The land ultimately served as a way for guests to take a trip through the rich history of Japan, and everything from samurai residencies to markets to brothels were represented in the area. Ancestorland
Did they actually
ultimately
have
met a
working
sad
brothels
fate,
at
as it was
Nara
demolished to
Dreamland?
make way for a water park area.
That'd be pretty
Small
nice.
remains such as shrines were left behind, though unkempt. The water park area that replaced it was pretty standard and featured a variety of slides and pools. At its peak, Nara Dreamland brought in 1.63 million visitors a year. This led to its sister park, Yokohama Dreamland, to open in 1964. This park focused less on rides and more on entertainment and landscaping
Thanks
to
to Prime
entice
Zane.
guests. Despite that, Yokohama did sport a handful of attractions, which could also be ridden in exchange for tickets bought throughout the park. An opening day monorail, the Dream Development Dreamland Line, was unique in that it made a stop at the railway station outside of the park itself. It was short-lived though, as cracks began forming in the support beams and repairs could not be made. After a year and 4 months of operation, all service of the line was suspended, and ultimately never returned. The park also featured 3 roller coasters, a Ferris wheel, a children's train ride, and a submarine voyage. Both parks were well loved, and their popularity proved that Japan was ripe for
I'm
major
pretty
theme
sure we
parks.
did laser.
Unfortunately for Dreamland, this would also be its downfall.
Because I wouldn't have known that was a plane thing without having watched it. I don't know planes very well. Thanks to Tier 1 anime vibing. And the resub, Silas Ups and Glitzy, and the gift sub, War Daddy. Place really does look like shit. Never mind, now it looks cool. Dogs. Nara Dreamland, woohoo!
Never mind the fact that it's actually 10 o'clock, but I won't get picky.
Did he break in, or is this place just this empty? Where's the Prime Gorlick? I mean, someone clearly works there, unless that was just like a ghost. A spirit of an old Nara Dreamland employee. Oh, thank you for the 20 gift subs, April. Shit, thank you for the huge drop. Appreciate the generosity. This place looks fucking awesome! Oh god, he's had enough! Holy shit! Thanks to the 2 gift subs, Gord. It looks cool!
A true Disneyland would finally open in Japan. Tokyo Disneyland came with
Thanks to the
immersive theming and
Josh
creative
and Beaver.
properties that blew Nara out of the water. The knockoff was hit hard by Disneyland's opening, and attendance sank to 1 million guests a year. The park quickly suffered from lower budgets and poor upkeep, and by the mid-90s, the park was littered with trash, rides were standing but not operating, and stray animals could be found roaming the property. In 2001, both Tokyo Disney and Universal Studios Japan opened. This was the final nail in the coffin for Nara Dreamland. Attendance slumped to a depressing 400,000 visitors a year. By 2004, the shops on Main Street were quickly closing. Building facades were noticeably rotting and beginning to lean from foundational issues. Rust gathered on the coasters, and small rides shut down but remained standing. Some attractions, such as the Log Flume in Tomorrowland, would operate despite no riders. Yokohama Dreamland was facing the same set of problems, and the park closed on February 17, 2002 due to the financial issues.
Damn it!
The park sat abandoned for 3 years before the rides were dismantled and the remaining buildings were repurposed for the Yokohama School of Pharmacy. Nara Dreamland continued operation until August 31, 2006. The park's closing was made known, but few guests showed up to experience the final day of operation.
Oh, it's
Midway
sad.
through the day, it began to rain, and most visitors headed home early.
Oh,
the park closed
what
its
the
gates
fuck?
and was left abandoned. Nara Dreamland was frozen in time, if anything, gaining visitors looking to explore the remains. The park gained a huge following online, with people taking pictures and videos of the creepy, abandoned Disney knockoff. On top of urban explorers, vandals also frequented the park. Aside from the expected graffiti, many of them moved the park's props around in order to depict sinister scenes. No initial effort was made to preserve what remained of Nara Dreamland, and unlike most amusement parks that close, no attractions were sold to other theme parks in the region. The Nara Dreamland property was put up for sale in 2011 with no bids. The property was foreclosed in 2014 and finally sold to SK Housing in 2015. Renovation remained stagnant for a while, supposedly due to the demolition being too expensive for SK Housing. After a year, demolition finally began, and the entire park was gone by December 21st, 2017.
No!
All rides were scrapped and the ground was leveled to make way for senior housing. Nara Dreamland is most known for its abandoned state between 2006 and 2016, and is often believed to be the most elaborate Disney knockoff of all time. But it was so much more. The park began as the next Disneyland, with guidance from Walt Disney himself. It opened with immersive theming and rave reviews, and it paved the way for theme park companies to realize how profitable expanding overseas could be. While Nara Dreamland couldn't keep up with the giants in the entertainment industry, it should be remembered for its valiant attempt to bring magic and fantasy to a new part of the world.
Oh. What the fuck? It's so cute. Japanese is really just the coolest language. Like, it just immediately made me care for the park. Damn, that got so sad at the end. What the fuck? Thanks to the 5 gift subs, damn right. Oh man, what a sad conclusion. Even worse knowing that nobody showed up and it rained. Fuck. That's so sad. Well, at least the guy who made Nara Dreamland died before he saw it in that pitiful state that it was in. So that's good at least. Abandoned Nickelodeon Studios. Thanks to the gift sub, Pat.